There's no way Batman has been super clean like his entire career, right? I was about to say, could Batman be a serial killer? Batman is a serial killer according to science. And we all know this. Like, we know this. Hit that like button, hit that sub button if you haven't already. And yeah, let's do it, boys.
The explosion tore through the chemical plant as Batman watched from above. Inside, at least 12 men burned alive. He could have saved them. He chose not to. You've been told Batman doesn't kill. That's his one rule, right? The thing that separates him from the criminals he fights. But what if I told you that across 80 years of comics, video games, and other media, Batman has one of the highest body counts in fiction? We're talking.
Batman definitely does not have one of the most highest body counts in fiction, like for sure. Because there are characters with quintillions, millions, billions of bodies, and they're way overpowered. Like, you know what I mean? So on a grounded level, like where, you know, it's kind of like human to human, then yeah, for sure. Like human to human, for sure. He definitely probably has the most bodies ever. But bro, this is crazy. This is about to be insane.
Hundreds of deaths.
Like, oh my God, bro. You mean to tell me that wasn't gonna kill that man right there?
Some indirect, but all preventable. Today, we're diving deep into the dark history of Batman's kills. From his original Golden Age incarnation as a gun...
Bro has a Gatling, and he's with Robin.
...wielding executioner, to his modern moral code that's more flexible than you think. We'll break down the science behind his methods, analyze the psychology of his victims, and ask the uncomfortable question, is Batman actually one of fiction's most prolific serial killers?
Might be. Not gonna lie, might be.
Let's start
the
where
Golden
it all began.
Age executioner. I'm crying. Here we go with this warship game again. That's a hit. That's a hit. Beautiful.
Detective Comics number 27, May 1939. Batman's very first appearance. Most people remember this iconic scene where he swoops down to save the night. What they forget is what happens next. Batman grabs criminal Alfred Stryker and throws him into a vat of acid. The man dissolves alive while Batman watches without a moment.
So this is his first kill? Does that mean they named his butler after his first kill? Basically, they just said his name is Alfred, or he just said his name is Alfred something.
What happens next? Batman grabs criminal Alfred Stryker
and throws him into
a vat of acid. The man dissolves alive while Batman watches without emotion. This wasn't an accident or a moment of rage. This was a calculated execution. Batman #1, published just months later, takes it even further. Batman hangs a mental patient named the Monster from the Batplane's landing gear, letting him fall to his death. In the same issue, he mows down criminals with machine guns mounted on the Batplane.
Yeah, dude, like...
We're not talking about rubber bullets or...
Who has seen that? Or if you've read those comments, let me know down in the comments below. Like, Batman was really using guns, like shooting criminals and stuff. That's crazy.
Equalizer darts. These are full metal jacket rounds designed to kill. The science here is brutal. A fall from the Batplane's typical altitude of 1,000 feet means the victim reaches terminal velocity, about 120 miles per hour. The human body hitting concrete at that speed experiences roughly 50 Gs of deceleration. Every bone shatters simultaneously. Death is instantaneous, but the psychological terror of the 30-second fall is pure torture. As for the acid vat, we're looking at concentrated sulfuric or hydrochloric acid. At industrial strength, these chemicals don't just burn. They dissolve organic tissue at the molecular level. The victim would experience third-degree burns across their entire body within seconds, followed by respiratory failure as the acid vapors destroy their lungs. Death would take 3 to 5 agonizing minutes. Throughout the early 1940s, Batman's kill methods became increasingly creative and sadistic. In Batman #2, he rams a truck full of criminals off a bridge, watching it explode on impact. The kinetic energy from a 2-ton vehicle hitting water at 60 miles per hour generates roughly 1.8 million joules, equivalent to a small bomb. Bob Kane and Bill Finger, Batman's creators,
Bill Finger,
weren't trying to make a superhero in the modern sense.
Bill Finger.
They were creating an urban vigilante executioner, inspired by characters like the Shadow and Zorro. This Batman operated by a simple philosophy.
Okay, so Batman was born. He was born a killer then.
Criminals forfeit their right to live the moment they choose crime. The psychological profile of this early Batman is fascinating and disturbing. He shows classic signs of antisocial personality disorder, lack of empathy, calculated violence, and an inflated sense of moral superiority. His method suggests someone who doesn't just want to stop crime, but actively enjoys the process of killing criminals.
I always see that clip and I'm just like, you mean to tell me like Batman just decked this dude in the face like 10 times, full punches, and he's still breathing? I don't know. I mean, that like
Yes, someone who doesn't just want to stop
like broke
crime,
his arm,
but actively enjoys the process of killing criminals. To put this in perspective, Batman's early comic book body count exceeds most real-world serial killers in FBI databases. Ted Bundy killed 30 people over
which is insane, again, for just like on the human aspect, I guess, right? You know, to other characters, that's just like it's like a millisecond in time.
Jeffrey Dahmer killed 17 over 13 years. Golden Age Batman killed an estimated 150 people in his first 2 years of publication alone. So why did this version disappear? Two factors: the introduction of Robin in 1940 and the Comics Code Authority in 1954. Robin was specifically created to soften Batman's image and appeal to younger readers. Having a child sidekick made it harder to justify Batman gunning down criminals in cold blood. The Comics Code Authority went further, establishing mandatory moral guidelines for comic books. Heroes had to respect authority, use minimal violence, and never kill except in the most extreme circumstances. This wasn't artistic evolution, it was censorship.
Stop watching this ad. Go to Wix.
You just said stop watching this ad? Okay.
Before some
I'm not watching it.
That fundamentally changed Batman's character. But here's what's interesting. While mainstream comics sanitized Batman, his original killer instinct never completely disappeared.
Yeah,
it just went underground, waiting for the right moment to resurface in video games, alternate universe comics, and darker interpretations that promise to show us the real Batman. The Golden Age executioner didn't die. He just learned to hide behind a moral code that's more flexible than most fans realize.
Hey, I mean, he's not wrong at all. Like,
while comic books wrestled with moral codes and censorship, video games gave Batman a new playground for violence. One where developers could hide kills behind the word unconscious, while showing bodies that clearly weren't breathing. The Batman Arkham series, starting with Asylum.
You know damn well when you beat enemies up in this game, you're killing them, bro. Everybody you fight in this joint, you off. Like, there's just no way you're leaving anybody alive. The way he hits people in these games is like, like, yeah, bro.
2009 perfected this hypocrisy. Sure, the game tells you enemies are unconscious, but let's analyze what actually happens. Batman throws criminals off 30-foot ledges onto concrete floors.
Yeah, like,
he electrocutes them with enough voltage to power a small building. He detonates explosive gel next to their heads. The science doesn't lie. A 30-foot fall generates impact forces of roughly 15 Gs, enough to cause severe brain trauma and internal bleeding. The human skull can withstand about 230 pounds of force before fracturing. Batman's standard punch, delivered by a 200-pound 10 man in armored gauntlets, generates approximately 400 pounds of force per square inch. That's not a knockout. That's a skull fracture with probable brain hemorrhaging. But Arkham Knight took things to a whole new level with the Batmobile's riot control mode. The game claims the vehicle uses electrical charges to subdue criminals, but the physics tell a different story. We're watching a 5-ton armored tank moving at 40 miles per hour ram directly into human bodies. The kinetic energy from that impact is equivalent to being hit by a freight train. The human ribcage can withstand about 3,300 newtons of force before complete structural failure. The Batmobile generates over 50,000 newtons of impact. We're not talking about unconscious criminals. We're talking about bodies compressed into paste under tank brakes.
Compressed
what makes
into
this
paste.
Worse is the game's psychological manipulation.
Damn.
Players watch Batman systematically run over dozens of criminals while the interface cheerfully displays unconscious instead of dead. It's gaslighting on a massive scale, training
Gaslighting.
players to accept extreme violence as long as it's labeled correct.
Everything he's saying right now is straight facts, though. Like everything he's saying, like W nerd science right now. W nerd science.
The Injustice series dropped all pretense. In this alternate universe, Batman kills Superman with a kryptonite spear, drives it directly through his chest cavity. The game shows us the forensic reality: punctured heart, massive internal bleeding, death within seconds. Finally, a Batman game.
Yeah, let me know down in the comments below. Do you guys think Batman would be a better fighter than Superman if they were both equally the same amount of strength, like how it looks right now? Because he probably has like some kryptonite on his gauntlets or something. But Batman would definitely be the winner, right? In a head-to-head, Superman and Batman, both being equal. I think Batman wins that.
Honest about its violence. Telltale's Batman series went further by making killing a player choice. You could choose to brand criminals with a red-hot bat symbol, causing third-degree burns across 15% of their body surface area.
What?
At that burn percentage, victims face a 90% mortality rate from infection and shock, even with immediate medical treatment. The combat realism analysis gets even darker when you consider cumulative damage. Batman doesn't just hit criminals once. He delivers sustained beatings that can last 30 seconds or more. A trained fighter throwing repeated punches to the head causes progressive brain trauma. After the 5th or 6th impact, you're looking at a severe concussion. After 10 impacts, traumatic brain injury becomes inevitable. Studies of real-world combat sports show that even professional boxers wearing protective gear suffer permanent brain damage from sustained head trauma. Batman's criminals don't wear helmets, and his gauntlets are designed to maximize impact force, not minimize it. The psychological impact on players is fascinating and disturbing. Interactive media creates a sense of moral complicity that passive media can't match. When you press the button to make Batman electrocute someone, you become psychologically invested in justifying that action. The "they're just unconscious" narrative becomes a collective delusion that players and developers maintain together. Gaming gave Batman something comics never could: plausible deniability through interactive violence. Players get the satisfaction of extreme brutality while maintaining the fiction that they're playing a hero. A perfect psychological loophole for a character whose moral code was always more marketing than reality. The body count in video games dwarfs anything from the comics, but the deaths are hidden behind euphemisms and technical terminology that lets everyone pretend Batman's hands are still clean. Here's where Batman's moral code gets really twisted. He doesn't pull triggers anymore, but he's perfected something arguably worse:
breaking bones.
Calculated abandonment. The philosophy is simple.
Calculated abandonment.
I don't have to save you. This concept reached its peak in Batman Begins when Bruce Wayne chooses not to save Ra's al Ghul from a crashing train. But the comics took this idea and ran with it for decades. Batman routinely leaves criminals in burning buildings, sinking ships, and exploding facilities. Technically, he didn't kill them. He just chose not to prevent their deaths. The science behind these scenarios is particularly grim. Take smoke inhalation, Batman's favorite indirect method. Trapped in a burning building, victims don't usually die from flames. They die from toxic gases. Carbon monoxide bonds to hemoglobin 200 times more readily than oxygen, causing cellular suffocation. At 1,600 parts per million, unconsciousness occurs within 2 minutes. Death follows in less than 3. Batman knows these numbers. He's studied forensic science extensively. When he leaves criminals in that burning warehouse, he's making a calculated decision based on precise mortality timelines. That's not moral flexibility. That's premeditated murder with extra steps. Hypothermia provides another favorite scenario. When Batman abandons criminals on sinking ships or in frozen water, he's exploiting specific physiological vulnerabilities. Water conducts heat 20 times faster than air. In 40-degree water, core body temperature drops 1 degree every 15 minutes. After 90 minutes, cardiac arrest becomes inevitable. The psychological evaluation reveals something disturbing about this indirect approach. Studies show that people experience less moral guilt when they cause harm through inaction rather than action. It's called the action-inaction bias, and Batman exploits it masterfully. By framing kills as failures to save, he maintains psychological distance from the consequences. But legally, this distinction is meaningless. Criminal negligence laws specifically address situations where someone with the ability to prevent death chooses not to act. If Batman existed in the real world, every abandoned criminal would represent a separate count of criminally negligent homicide. We're talking about hundreds of felony charges across his career. The Ra's al Ghul deaths across multiple storylines provide perfect case studies. In each encounter, Batman creates situations where Ra's faces mortal danger, then withdraws at the crucial moment. He's not fighting an enemy, he's orchestrating elaborate scenarios while maintaining plausible deniability. The moral distinction between killing and letting die becomes even murkier when you consider Batman's resources. He has advanced medical training, cutting-edge rescue equipment, and superhuman physical capabilities. When he chooses not to use these abilities, that choice becomes the direct cause of death. Real-world emergency responders face similar ethical dilemmas, but they're bound by duty to rescue laws and professional codes of conduct. Batman operates outside these constraints, making life and death decisions based purely on his personal moral calculations. That's not heroism. That's playing God with human lives. The explosion survival rate Batman relies on are particularly telling. He knows that anyone within 50 feet of a detonating building faces a 90% mortality rate from blast pressure and debris. When he triggers explosions and then fails to evacuate criminals in time, he's weaponizing physics itself. What makes this philosophy especially insidious is how it's presented to readers. Comics frame these scenarios as moral victories, Batman maintaining his principle while evil destroys itself. But the reality is calculated homicide disguised as ethical consistency. The indirect kill philosophy represents Batman at his most psychologically sophisticated and morally bankrupt. He's found a way to maintain his body count while preserving the fiction of his moral code.
I'm about to watch that movie again after this. I'm not gonna lie.
The transformation of Batman from executioner to hero didn't happen overnight. It was a calculated corporate decision disguised as character development. Understanding this evolution reveals how marketing considerations shaped one of fiction's most famous moral codes. Robin's introduction in Detective Comics number 38, April 1940, marked the beginning of the end for Killer Batman. DC Comics needed to expand their audience beyond adults reading pulp detective stories. A child sidekick meant younger readers, which meant parents buying comics, which meant pressure to sanitize the violence. The psychological impact was immediate and deliberate. Having a 12-year-old witness to his actions forced Batman to moderate his methods. You can't have Robin watch Batman gun down criminals without creating serious questions about child endangerment and psychological trauma. The character had to evolve or risk losing his new young audience. But the real death blow came from the Comics Code Authority in 1954. This wasn't artistic growth. This was government-backed censorship, followed by Frederick Wertham's book, Seduction of the Innocent, which blamed comic books for juvenile delinquency. The code established rigid moral guidelines. Heroes must respect authority, violence must be minimal, and killing was forbidden except in the most extreme circumstances. Publishers faced a simple choice: comply or go out of business. Batman's no-kill rule wasn't a creative decision, it was a corporate survival instinct dressed up as moral evolution. However,
I forgot that's the one only time that I've seen Batman use a gun was in that Justice League movie. I think that's the Justice League movie. It might be like the Snyder Cut or something, I forget, or Batman vs Superman, one of them.
Certain creators found ways to subvert these restrictions while technically staying within the guidelines. Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns in 1986 brought back Batman's killer instinct through calculated ambiguity. When Batman breaks the mutant leader's bones, the comic doesn't explicitly state he's dead, but the forensic evidence suggests otherwise. Multiple spinal fractures, severe internal bleeding, and traumatic brain injury create mortality rates exceeding 80%. Scott Snyder's Court of Owls storyline took a more psychological approach. Batman doesn't directly kill the Talons, but his psychological warfare drives them to self-destruct. He exploits their mental conditioning, triggering behavioral patterns that lead to their deaths. It's murder by proximity through advanced psychological manipulation. The scientific psychology behind trauma response explains how Batman's moral code can be so flexible under extreme stress. Studies show that individuals with high-functioning antisocial traits often develop elaborate moral frameworks to justify their actions. These frameworks appear rigid on the surface, but contain hidden loopholes that activate during crisis situations. Real vigilante psychology provides disturbing parallels. The Stanford prison experiment demonstrated how quickly ordinary people adopt extreme behaviors when given authority over others. Batman represents the ultimate expression of this phenomenon. Unlimited resources, no oversight, and a moral framework that justifies increasingly extreme actions. The moral inconsistency becomes most apparent in Batman's treatment of the Joker versus lesser criminals. He'll move heaven and earth to save the Joker from execution, citing his no-kill rule, but he'll abandon petty thieves in burning buildings without a second thought. The psychological...
That's because without the Joker, there is no Batman, right? Like, and he knows that. I mean, not really, but they're really brothers for real, for real. That's how they love to live their lives, I guess.
Explanation is simple.
Damn.
The Joker validates Batman's existence by providing an eternal enemy.
Yeah,
Random criminals are expendable. This selective application reveals the arbitrary nature of Batman's moral code. It's not based on consistent ethical principles. It's based on narrative convenience and psychological need. The code exists to serve Batman's psychological requirements, not protect human life. The evolution of Batman's no-kill code represents one of fiction's most successful psychological manipulations. By gradually introducing more flexibility while maintaining the appearance of ethical consistency, creators have trained audiences to accept extreme violence as long as it's properly contextualized. Modern Batman operates under what psychologists call moral licensing.
Moral
the
licensing.
Phenomenon where past good behavior creates permission for future questionable action. Every criminal Batman saves gives him psychological credit to abandon the next one. The no-kill code didn't eliminate Batman's homicidal tendencies. It just made them more sophisticated and psychologically complex. The Golden Age executioner evolved into something far more dangerous, a killer who believes his own moral justifications.
This is the Speediest Gym Monster 2.
And if you're not familiar with the Speediest Gym Monster,
I'm
let's
not.
first talk about...
So what's the actual
Nor do I
game?
want to be.
After analyzing 80 years of Batman publications, video games, and alternate media, we're looking at a conservative estimate of over 400 documented deaths, directly or indirectly, caused by Batman's actions. That's not counting the thousands of criminals who likely died from injuries sustained during his non-lethal encounters. Let's break down the methodology. Direct kills include any death where Batman's actions were the immediate cause. Gunshots, stabbings, throws into acid vats, or deliberate explosions.
How many of those?
127 of these.
Yeah, that's still a lot, though.
Alone.
For somebody who has a no-kill rule, that's a lot. Like, I don't even think Spider-Man or Captain America or anybody like that has killed that many people. Like, you know what I mean?
Scenarios where Batman chose not to prevent a death he could have stopped. Burning buildings, sinking ships, or abandoning criminals in lethal situations. This category adds another 203 confirmed deaths. The negligent death category is the largest and most disturbing. These are criminals who died from injuries sustained during Batman's non-lethal takedowns. Medical studies show that repeated blunt force trauma to the head carries a 15 to 20% mortality rate even with immediate medical attention. Given Batman's combat frequency and the fact that most criminals don't receive immediate medical care, we're looking at potentially thousands of deaths from brain hemorrhaging, internal bleeding, and organ failure. Compare this to...
God, he's just in there like...
other supposedly
he is nothing to play
heroes,
with.
and the number becomes staggering. Superman has a documented kill count of approximately 12 across all media.
See, like...
mostly alternate universe scenarios or cosmic threats.
12?
Spider-Man sits at around 8, usually involving
8
accidents during combat with supervillains. Batman's body count exceeds both of them combined by a factor of 20.
He's a serial killer.
The legal implications are terrifying. If Batman existed today, he'd face charges for multiple counts of first-degree murder, hundreds of counts of criminally negligent homicide, and thousands of counts of aggravated assault. International criminal law would classify many of his actions as war crimes.
Let's be honest, he'd be way too rich for the jail though. He would be charged with all that stuff. He would have so much money, it doesn't even matter. He'd just buy off the judges and the fucking, I mean, hell, they would probably already be under Wayne anyway or something in some type of way. Like maybe, I don't know.
Particularly his use of psychological torture and his systematic targeting of mentally ill individuals. From a psychological diagnostic standpoint, Batman exhibits classic makers of functional psychopathy.
Yeah, low-key, yeah, it's kind of crazy because he does go after like mentally messed up people, like and the way he just like slammed Joker's head right there, like he's crazy, right? So he might be a little mentally unstable or something, but
from a
to watch Batman slam his head on the table and stuff just shows you how abusive Batman is.
Diagnostic standpoint, Batman exhibits classic makers of functional psychopathy. He demonstrates superficial charm, grandiose self-worth, pathological lying about his methods, lack of remorse, shallow emotional responses,
that was messed
and a
up.
parasitic lifestyle funded by inherited wealth. The American Psychiatric Association's DSM-5 criteria for antisocial personality disorder reads like Batman's character profile. What's most disturbing is how we've been conditioned to accept this violence. Batman's kills are sanitized through euphemisms, justified through moral frameworks, or hidden behind technical terminology.
But we all know the truth.
When Batman cripples criminals, but we'd call it assault if anyone else did the same thing. The myth versus reality gap reveals something uncomfortable about our relationship with fictional violence. We want the satisfaction of seeing bad guys punished, but we need the psychological comfort of believing our hero maintains moral superiority. Batman provides the perfect solution: extreme violence wrapped in moral code that's flexible enough to justify anything. So here's the final verdict. Batman isn't just one of fiction's most prolific killers. He's one of the most psychologically sophisticated. He's created a moral framework that allows
psychologically sophisticated, mentally unstable, whatever, etc., etc. You guys can finish it. Like, yes, he is everything, psychopathic, everything,
while maintaining the appearance of ethical behavior. That's not heroism. That's the methodology of a highly intelligent serial killer who's convinced the world he's the good guy.
He's the
Dark
good
Knight's
guy.
greatest victory isn't saving Gotham. It's convincing us that his body count doesn't matter as long as he feels bad about it afterward.
As long as he feels bad. Let me know what you guys thought about that down in the comments below. That was definitely one of the best, one of the better, like, I don't know. To me, I love this video. So definitely one of my favorites from Nerd Science. If you were on the fence as to if Batman was a serial killer or not, there it is. Or a psychopath or not, there it is. Like,